How to see stars, Cygnus and Capricorn. Welcome back, or if it's your first time with us, welcome and hi there to you. This is going to be our first alternative astronomy lesson for the fall season, where we're learning to identify the star constellations of the Northern Hemisphere sky. And in this lesson, we're going to start off with finding the constellations of Cygnus the Swan and Capricorn the Goat in the October sky. As always, we're going to orient ourselves to view the special place in the night sky we've nicknamed the real oracle or the real all-seeing eye. It's where most of the celestial action occurs, and it's found by facing due south and looking up. Now, you know you're facing south when your left side is facing where the sun rises in the morning, and your right side is where the sun sets in your location. Now, it's not just the sun that rises in the east and sets in the west along this narrow band in the sky called the arc of the ecliptic, but you'll also find there the moon, all the known planets, and the star constellations of the zodiac all travel along this arc of the ecliptic too. Capricorn is one of the 12 constellations of the zodiac you've likely heard of before, so we're going to focus in on just a bit about Capricorn first. And the reason that we're sharing just a bit about the stories or the mythology behind each of these constellations we're looking at in this beginner just getting acquainted phase here is because as we're going to learn more and more about as we go forward, the stories about the stars served a far greater purpose than just being told for mere entertainment purposes as we think of them today, especially knowing that many of these stories are going back to a time before we as people even had writing. This is where most of these stories can be traced back to. So the stories are constructed then in a way to remember them. So to more easily pass down the knowledge of the stars in oral tradition, whether we know that or not. And most of us don't know this, but that's something that we're here to change. Let's check out just a little of Capricorn's story. Just to get started, we're going to look at a mainstream source, Wikipedia. They tell us that Capricorn is one of the constellations of the zodiac, and its name is Latin for goat or goat horn. It tells us that Capricorn is located in an area of the sky called the sea or the water. You will hear me refer to it in our lessons as the celestial sea. This is where you're going to find many water-related constellations. Knowing this helps make more sense out of why Capricorn is represented as this half-goat, half-fish chimera creature, a sea goat. It's because of its location here in the celestial sea area of the sky. Wikipedia also tells us that Capricorn is the smallest of the zodiac constellations, and we can find mythology about Capricorn in many ancient cultures going back to ancient Babylon and ancient Greece. And we're also told by Wikipedia that the satyr, or the half-man, half-goat creature, known as Pan, also references the constellation of Capricorn as well. And here's something interesting to take note of Capricorn and its connection to the constellation of Cygnus that we'll see in just a second. Capricorn's brightest star is called Deneb, which means the Arabic word for tail. Now we're going to go on here and look at how this connects to Cygnus. Wikipedia tells us that Cygnus is the Latinized word for swan. Cygnus is one of the most recognizable constellations of the summer and fall skies in the north and is also known as the Northern Cross. Cygnus's tail star is one of the brightest stars in the sky, and that star is called also Deneb. So there's our one connection between these of Capricorn and Cygnus. They both have their brightest stars with the same name, Deneb. Wikipedia also tells us that there are many ancient myths involving Cygnus or swans that come from ancient Greece, including the story of Phaeton stealing Zeus's chariot and the epic labors of Hercules story that we briefly touched on over the summer months. So let's see how we're going to find Capricorn and Cygnus in the Northern Hemisphere October sky and see more of the connection between these two constellations. So we're going to be looking right in the middle of the real all-seeing eye in the sky during the first 2 hours after the sun sets. This, if you've been following us throughout the summer, you're going to notice that The constellations we've been tracking during the summer months, including Boötus, Hercules, Ophiuchus, Aquila, and Sagittarius, are all now found to the west side of the cross of the north-south meridian line and the arc of the ecliptic. And lined up now, beginning in the month of October, we find both Capricorn and Cygnus there at the cross of the north-south meridian line and the arc of the ecliptic, or center stage. Now, Capricorn is a more difficult to find constellation, not just because it's on the smaller side, but also because even the brightest star, called Deneb in Capricorn, is really just the brightest of all the dim stars within it. So to help make things easier for us, we're going to look for Cygnus first, located in the same area of the cross of the north-south meridian line in the arc of the ecliptic, but flying up much higher above Capricorn's location. Cygnus is very easy to locate if you first look for one of the brightest stars in the sky to guide your way to it. The Deneb that's in Cygnus will make Cygnus the Swan very easy to find. So once you've located Cygnus, then from there you just want to drop your eyes straight down lower to the horizon, that is, and see if you can make out the faint stars that form the constellation of Capricorn, the sea goat, traveling in the celestial sea. And now you can see more of the connection between these two constellations of Capricorn and Cygnus. Not only do they share a star with the same name, Deneb, you'll also find them both appearing together, lined up center stage in the Northern Hemisphere October sky. Some of the information in this piece comes from our book series, Constellations by Campfire, The Easy and Naked Eye Way for the fall season, and you can find that link down in the description to get yours, or you can check that out on our website by visiting starsnearme.com. Until next time, stay lit and be well.